This fantasy football top 10 running backs edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Bird Dog Shorts. Dominate summer with an amazing pair of shorts and a free Yeti-style tumbler when you order over at birddogs.com/pool. That's birddogs.com/pool. Dog. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Run the damn ball, Sean.
Run the damn ball, establish the run, pound the rock, whatever you want to call it. We're talking running backs. We just knocked out yesterday's episode. We just knocked out our top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks with plenty of hot, spicy takes in there for people.
Sean, there's a young person outside the studio watching us right now, and by the time they are old enough, the running back position may be eliminated from the NFL. So
I can see his dad laughing. Yes. He's like, I remember back in my day, we used to pound the rock. We used to fire that pigskin across the goal line. This kid's growing up in the run and shoot offense, dome football. Probably a big Steph Curry guy, like the 3-ball.
You probably only get 15 carries a game. That's how you insulted your friends at school.
Yeah, I mean, gone are the days of the bell cow back, although we have a couple here, I think, that still fit that bell cow role. We're going to be breaking down all top 10 fantasy football running backs, Ryan.
Sean, we need a cow sound effect.
Oh, yeah. Now you're really you scared the kid away.
We got the lunch crowd at the conference.
We got a 40-year-old guy mooing in the studio. We're gonna just keep moving along here.
That was Austin Ekeler. I appreciate him providing that sound drop.
Thank you, Austin. Feel free, if anyone listens to the show, please cut Ryan mooing, because that is just an all-time drop. You know what? It's all-timer, Ryan. One, we're in Vegas at the Blue Wire studio. The NFL theme song is coursing through our veins because we're talking about football in the summer. And when I talk about football in the summer, Ryan, get a little hot, get a little fired up. But fortunately, I'm rocking these Bird Dog shorts. Been rocking them. These things just never come off. I mean, look at that.
Look at that tan. Maybe they show the legs a little bit. Oh, yes.
Love these Bird Dog shorts. YouTube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast to see me model them. I just love these shorts. They're honestly, the fact that we are getting compensated to talk about these amazing shorts. Ryan, hopefully they're not listening, because I'd be telling people about Bird Dog shorts for free in my personal life. And, of course, if you want the free Yeti-style cooler, you go to birddogs.com/pool, birddogs.com/pool. You won't want to take these shorts off, and I actually haven't. You'll be seeing. I'll be wearing these pair of shorts every day through these fantasy football episodes, birddogs.com/pool. All right, Kramer, let's do it. And if you haven't caught up with the quarterback episode, we are starting from number 1 because it's kind of more fun to go from 1 to 10 and then see who we leave off. Those are where the spicier takes happen, it feels like. Number 1, 2, although we'll see.
And also we did classify both Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson as quarterbacks this year. So they're in the quarterback episode.
Yeah, so if you're looking for them in the running backs.
Sorry, not sorry.
Who was it that called Lamar a running back? Was that?
Well, it was probably just some random scout, right?
No, it was Bill Polian, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's a random scout at this point. He's ESPN's head of scouting.
Head of scouting.
Yeah, I guess. Well, do you want to start? I assume you're number 1. There's no way you found a way to put Rashad Penny or Trey Sermon, DeAndre Swift. Do they have like a mega, is there a name when they all combine? I
want to put Boston Scott in there, just as the ultimate troll. But no Eagles running backs made this list. Breaking news. I'm sure everyone was expecting me to put in a DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny.
Oh, Jalen Hurts also covered in the quarterback episode.
Yes.
In case you were wondering.
Well, Ryan, again, he is a high-level quarterback. Played at a really high level in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, these fucking jabron field crew out in Arizona. But
wow. Okay, so we're now months removed from the incident, and we're just fully blaming the grass?
that didn't help.
Okay.
No, that didn't help. The pass rush couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes. The league is out to get us.
Got it.
Don't worry. That's why we have next season, a.k.a. 2023. I'll kick it off.
Kick it off.
Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey. I know it's
McCaffrey
shocking.
or McCafferty?
McCafferty's,
Yeah.
as they say in the Philly area. He led all running backs in fantasy points scored from week 8 to 17, a.k.a. when they didn't have a quarterback, a.k.a. they still don't have a quarterback. As much as this is a compliment to the 49ers organization, it's also an insult to their quarterback. Again, 20 touches per game. And we didn't even address Ryan. It didn't really matter, I guess, for the quarterback episode, but these are full point PPR rankings.
Yes.
20 points per game, 76% average snap share in non-blowout games. He's just a guy that is going to be on the field all the time.
Yeah.
Is there a world where he leads the team in receptions as well? I think that's certainly possible. Christian
I knew you would ask
McCaffrey
that question.
Is just going to have a massive year, and they still play on real grass out there. So, breaking news: I'm not projecting Christian McCaffrey to have a season-ending injury this season. So, I'm high on Christian McCaffrey.
I will say what stood out to me is the fact that looking at like a charting of his targets, he did have. I basically met anytime someone had less than 4 targets. So 1, 2, 3. I just mark it as a dud game, and anytime you have more than 5, I mark it as a good game because obviously averaging 6 targets a game is pretty good.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey actually had 3 of his last 5 games. He had 3 or fewer targets. Now he made up.
Are those including playoff games?
No. I'm doing regular season only because of course we're talking about regular season here. So the issue I have is that he made up for that with the running game.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, and it gave me enough pause. Now, obviously, with the current ADP, Christian McCaffrey is someone you're probably having to take with the top 3 or 4 picks. I decided
I'm fine with it.
I decided to get a little spicy.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Because I here are the 2 things I charted with all running backs. Targets with the metrics I told you, basically boom bust kind of thing, and then points boom bust, similar to how I did with quarterbacks. Now I understand McCaffrey was on 2 teams last year, but if you look at his portfolio, 9 boom games, 2 bust games, pretty solid. Austin Ekeler, 10 boom games, 1 bust game.
So you have Austin Ekeler as your number 1
in a contract year, a guy who is very self-aware, very aware of fantasy football. Very aware of the value in the catch. Again, Christian McCaffrey did not lead the league in targets last year at the running back position. It was Austin Ekeler, and he led by 19 total targets, averaged almost a full target more per game, 7.5 versus Christian McCaffrey's 6.5. To me, that's the tiebreaker.
See, I don't have.
And you know what else? The second tiebreaker. I know San Francisco has a hell of an offense. I know they're going to score some points. But I don't know how you can suggest that their offense is going to be better and score more points than the Chargers, both because of the situations they'll be in and the style of offenses they play. To me, Austin Ekeler has the ultimate highest touchdown ceiling and pass-catching ceiling. He obviously is one of the few guys who could hit 100 catches. He could also lead the league in touchdowns. To me, Austin Ekeler, clear number 1. I have a tremendous.
Okay, I respect.
All right,
the
not
take,
clear
Ryan.
number 1, but to me, I'd rather have Ekeler this season. I think the quarterback. You're right to think that the quarterback variance helps Christian McCaffrey, but you do like
he threw a pass in the playoff game.
Running back points do tend to correlate to the offensive success, and so the top.
I think Christian McCaffrey you could say is an exception because you saw him have insane workload, insane fantasy points, even on shitty Carolina Panthers team. Ryan, I have Austin Ekeler way farther down than you.
Yeah, it's
I guess not way. He's not in my top 5. Do you want me to reveal where I have Austin Ekeler?
No, we can
or
talk.
Should we
can save it, but
okay.
I'll save my counterpoints for when we get there. To me, though, Again, not. I'm going to show you my laptop here. Not a lot of red in the Austin Ekeler row.
But you're looking in the past. I'm looking forward. I got a windshield view of this Chargers team, and we'll save it. Who's your number? I'll just go with my number 2. The big dog himself.
Oh, I like this.
The big dog is still gonna eat.
Yes.
Even in full point PPR. Shove it up your ass. Millennials with your pass catching.
Hey,
running
Sean,
backs.
you want to play a super flex 1.5 point PPR league this year? Really brings everyone into play. It's all about giving equal opportunity.
Derrick Henry, come on. I mean, even last year, which you could kind of say is a down year by Derrick Henry's standards, he still had 1,538 yards. He still had 13 touchdowns. He actually had a career high in receptions. I know I just made fun of pass catching running backs, but he had 33 catches. He had 349 attempts. And I know what you're saying, like, oh, when he has 300 attempts, he's going to get hurt the next year. Not necessarily. He had 303 in 2019, in 2019, 378 the following year in 2020. I know he's getting up there in age, but I still think there's one big year left for the big dog, Derrick Henry, and I think it could be this year. I think everyone's sleeping on the Tennessee Titans. You could argue somewhat rightly so. But
I think they're looking at the Titans in the eyes and making those determinations.
He's just going to get an insane amount of touches. Again, no competition at the running back spot. They haven't done. It's just like him and Chig in the red zone area. Like, what else are we? It's got to be.
We might be too close to the situation, Sean. We might be a little too close.
What, with Chig or Derrick Henry?
Just in general, our strange love of the some of the teams in the AFC South. Look, I will.
I almost gave out. I was on VSiN last night. Shout out to our boy Hoops Peterson. But I almost gave out Houston Texans to win the division. Then I had a moment of clarity and remember how hard they burned us last year. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Not falling for the Texans trap.
Oh, don't worry.
Who's your number 2?
I'll be out there.
Yeah, you can carry that.
My number 2 was Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
And a lot of the same. The only thing I would add to what you said is, like I said, I think the ultimate tiebreaker for me was the pass game work. That I think you can make an argument that Ekeler loses volume and targets because we're going to start playing downfield more. I also think you argue that also opens up a lot of space for him to operate. With McCaffrey, it's simply like the tiebreaker, like I mentioned. I think. It's hard for me to see a world where the offense doesn't take a step back, at least for periods of time during the season. So maybe McCaffrey starts slow. Maybe McCaffrey, it turns into a bull down the stretch when the Niners are fully healthy, as Shanahan predicts.
Well, luckily they don't have to play the Eagles week 1 because, as they mentioned, that they might not be fully healthy, and that might hurt them.
But that did stand out to me, the way that he was with Brock. So if you're a Brock Purdy guy, Brock Purdy plus Christian McCaffrey meant more in the running game, less in the passing game, which ultimately limits his ceiling. So that's my number 2. Who's your number 3, Sean?
Jonathan Taylor.
Wow. Where's this come from?
I've just been
We've been doing best ball all, even hiding this bullet.
You know what, Ryan? You're right. And again, part of becoming a great handicapper, a great fantasy football player, is self-scouting. And I was looking at the numbers, using my model, aka gut handicapping, and I was realizing I don't have enough shares of Jonathan Taylor. I know you're going to push back on it, but Shane Steichen, what they can do with a running quarterback, again, no one's saying he's going to be the next Jalen Hurts, although some, I guess, are saying that. But the stuff that you can do with a running quarterback, the opportunities you can create for the running back in that kind of offense with that read option stuff, I think is really tremendous. I think they're playing in a very soft AFC South. I think this is a contract year for Jonathan Taylor. Like, if he wants running backs around, as you know, struggling to get paid, struggling to get their respect as they claim they deserve. So, everyone's, and also this is like a anti-fantasy guy take. I feel like everyone, and including myself for a little while, is off on Jonathan Taylor. But again, like he's in a pretty decent spot. You could make a case against the offensive line, but man, I just think Jonathan Taylor is going to be involved in that offense in a massive way. Love Jonathan Taylor this year.
So the case against Taylor is he doesn't have like the potential of the offense being really bad, and there just not being enough red zone opportunity and touchdown opportunity for him to get there.
Yeah. And again, I would say the offense wasn't that great in 2021. He had 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, 106.5 yards per game. I understand their offensive line was maybe a little bit better, but I think he can get back to I think he's going to have 300 carries. Again, like when we're talking about the guys to lead the league in rushing yards and stuff like that, it's like, can they get to 300 carries?
This is he's going to be good after he wasn't good.
Yes.
Like the post hype thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, definitely doesn't pop off the spreadsheet in terms of boom games versus bust games. Had more bust than boom.
And again, just 4 rushing touchdowns last year. I think that's
I can't tell you that's going to regress because I don't know how I don't know if that offense is going to be traveling into the red zone a lot.
Okay. Again, I think you're letting your Anthony Richardson and maybe their defense is so bad they're in blowouts where he gets some garbage stuff. I just the more I break down the market, the more I'm high on Jonathan.
If he comes out and start like he had 2 games last year over 5 targets. He had a 7-target game and an 8-target game. He had a lot of 0, a lot of 1s.
Yeah.
If he comes out and we see that kind of usage in the pass game, I'll be sad that I was wrong.
Colts offense was a complete unmitigated disaster last year.
That's fair.
I mean, Nick Foles, you can walk through like what they were trying.
He scored 12.2 points per game on average and 146 overall. He was outside the top 30 fantasy running backs.
No, I know. He had a bad year. He was banged up, missed a bunch of time.
So let's say he regresses up, 5 points per game or 3 point. I hear the case. He's maybe a hot take. He's not in my top 10. And Sean, this is what's led me to have 0% ownership of Jonathan Taylor in best ball. All the drafts I've done, I've never gotten him because he goes at the very beginning of the second round.
Yeah.
When I'm either more likely to be taking a different running back or receivers.
Jonathan Taylor is 5th in like expert consensus rankings. So you're much lower. I'm slightly higher.
Yeah. I guess I'm a little bit betting against that offense. All right. What number are we on?
I've given out my top 3. I don't think we've heard your
number
third.
3 for me, very obvious, clearly playing this season, clearly. So my thesis in general on these, when you're ranking these running backs, is you have to have the pass game role to be ranked near the top for me, because I think that ultimately is what gives you the ceiling. And when you look at Barkley's season last year, he did have a handful of games where he had sub 4 targets, 4 of them, but he had more boom target games, and specifically down the stretch, he is in the very top of the league in terms of targets, weeks 13 through 17 with 29, only trailing Christian McCaffrey and actually Leonard Fournette, which is pretty hilarious. And then when you pop over to the points, it's the same kind of story. Boom potential obviously there last season, even during times when the offense was struggling early in the season, Barkley was still putting up points. And then when the offense shifted to more of a pass attack, he was still able to put out some boom games with a couple in weeks 15 and 16. So again, you rarely saw him fall flat on his face. Only 3 bust games last year. That's the same kind of caliber as you're getting with Ekeler, McCaffrey. You're just getting it later because people are now scared that he might hold out. What are we noticing? If there was abnormal behavior, like say one running back on the franchise tag was doing something than the other one, then we should be worried.
Yeah.
But they're all doing the same thing.
Are they all going to band together as a running back union and completely strike from the NFL?
No, I fully expect that at some point John Mara pulls Barkley aside and says, look, you're in New York. We'll make some connections. We'll get this money made up somewhere else. At the end of the day, I would bet very decent money that Barkley does not miss any time this year.
Okay.
Does not miss any time this year.
So it sounded a lot like Le'Veon Bell.
No, that's a horrible take. As we've interacted with Le'Veon Bell, very different people. I mean, Saquon Barkley is a team first guy, so much so he doesn't want to put out
Daniel Jones under the bus.
Doesn't want to put out
Patrick Mahomes.
Doesn't want to put. He's never said that. DJ's his guy. He's never put out anything negative about the organization, what they're offering him. And lastly, what I'll say is he may not be at the team activities, but he's been at every single training session with his teammates.
Is he running in sand?
With teammates? Dirt, sand, grass. He's doing all of it. All right.
Would it shock you to know that Saquon Barkley isn't?
Well, no, it wouldn't shock me because you don't take your fantasy list serious.
He is in my top 10
because you have to put him in there.
And I did because he's not in the top 5, but he's close. My number 4, Nick Chubb. No Kareem Hunt. Massive opportunity for him.
Yes.
I'm not a huge Deshaun Watson fan, but it feels like even if you aren't a Deshaun Watson fan, their offense probably should be slightly better. Just a huge workload opportunity. I don't know. Like Nick Chubb, it's just why not Nick Chubb? This feels like a great year for him. Coming off the career high rushing, 13 touchdowns. I think he could get involved a little bit here in the passing game more. I know Deshaun Watson creates some issues there for the offense overall, but I still really like Nick Chubb. Again, no competition. It's that rare, bell cow back situation. Feel free to moo here, Ryan. But Nick Chubb, dude runs super hard, passes the eye test.
Yeah, doesn't wear gloves, man. Like he's a throwback football player. He's the guy that every year falls in fantasy football because none of the young kids want to draft him in their dynasty league. I think you nailed it. Hunt being gone is huge. He gets such a consistent workload. I will say he's starting to get down the list where you're going to have you're balancing out the bust games and the boom games. I do wonder how much of his bust games last year correlated to Deshaun Watson coming back and playing like complete dog shit and not running the offense. Because when you look at it, 4 of his 5 bust games occurred with Watson out there.
Yeah,
and and they happen to be
that to me. It doesn't seem like that should be right. Like to me, that was more just Deshaun Watson didn't know how to run the offense, wasn't prepared, and their whole offense submarined. I think. As much as I don't think Deshaun Watson's an MVP candidate, I think he will be slightly better than he was last year. And again, just looking at Kareem Hunt, 123 carries. I know they got some other guys on the roster, but that's an insane workload. 123 carries, 44 targets to Kareem Hunt, a guy they liked. I think they felt good getting rid of Kareem Hunt because how much they love Nick Chubb and how much he's going to be a part of the offense.
And we haven't touched on it a bunch. Probably should have with Henry and Barkley with their 15 carries inside the 5. But something else that stands out with Nick Chubb is last year he received 70% of the team's carries inside the 5, and there were 12 of them. So again, any sort of positive offensive regression with Watson, which I'm not necessarily projecting a ton of, but I
think even just a slight amount, he was so bad.
I think you're crazy to not. So to me, Nick Chubb is the classic falls to the end of the second round, maybe even the start of the third round, because you got all these fucking kids wanting to draft their receivers early because that's the structure you have to follow.
Especially an underdog. And maybe this is some of that underdog bias leaking in, because especially in half-point PPR, I think he's really being undervalued.
Again,
but this is full-point PPR rankings.
Well, but in underdog is different because you have the same with DraftKings and the best ball. You have the 3 receivers versus the 2 running backs, which is what ultimately creates that positional value. But yeah, so all right, I do have. We'll talk. I have a couple nuggets on Nick Chubb. We'll get to that a little bit later. I have him down the list. Next up for me, number 4.
Yep.
Again, theme. You got to be able to carry the passing workload. You got to be able to show me you've had the targets and or the offense appears to be willing to give those types of targets to the running back position. Sean, this not a hot take based on ADP. Definitely a hot take based on where I thought I was going to be earlier in the process. I've started to acquire more of this guy in best ball. And I think he's he's on that short list of, that magical number of 5 PPR or 5 targets per game, which is like true bell cow in the passing game. I know there's some other people to feed here, Tyler Algier to be one, but Bijan Robinson, the more that I think about it, the more I am trying to accumulate as many teams in best ball as possible with Bijan, Ekeler, Barkley, 2 out of 3. When I'm drafting towards the end of the first round. And with Bijan, the case for And the reason I had to actually move him up was to make sure I could draft him, because he's going, in many cases, he's going in the first round. So you have to get him at the end of the first round. And I project, based on me grinding the shit out of OTA film, listening to Arthur Smith talk, he very, very carefully calls Tyler Algier his starting running back. And he calls Bijan Robinson a weapon. We hear how Bijan's lining up in the slot. Bijan and Tyler Algier, Bijan and Cordell Patterson are on the field together. That tells me that they are going to use the fuck out of Bijan Robinson, and especially when those defenses have to game plan for Kyle Pitts. All-world Hall of Famer Kyle Pitts running down the seam. So, yeah,
right?
I stuck Bijan up here because I think he's one of the few guys on this list with Barkley, Ekeler, McCaffrey, who can average those 5 targets a game needed to really be that true elite back.
Ryan, you mentioned Kyle Pitts.
Oh.
And Kyle Pitts is a great example of why Bijan Robinson is not on my top 10 fantasy football running backs list this year. And I don't know if he's going to be in the near future. We've just have a history of Arthur Smith drafting skill players in the top 10 and not getting top 10 fantasy performances out of them. We have a history of it. We've seen it with Kyle Pitts. We've seen it with Drake London. Why am I supposed to believe in Bijan Robinson, who's supposed to be a fucking receiver, when he's telling you Tyler Algier is his running back? Tyler Algier is the sneaky guy to draft it on the Falcons.
I like both.
I don't like Bijan Robinson as his ADP. I'm predicting Bijan Robinson is not going to be a top 10 fantasy football running back. And unfortunately, I'm also predicting injury for Bijan Robinson. I know you're not supposed to do that. He will have an injury. He will not finish the season. Ryan, lock it up.
All right. I mean, that's certainly first injury predicted.
There's just some guys you got to be out on. And for me, I'm rolling the dice here, and I'm going to be out on Bijan Robinson.
I'm passively out on him in that, like, my ranking probably has me missing him more than getting him, because I'm probably taking Ekeler and Barkley more. That being said, I want to have bets on the Falcons. I think they could be a team that surprises people, and I have a feeling if they surprise people, it's because of Bijan Robinson. And pull up the data. There are not too many guys that average those 5 targets a game that don't end up being at the top of the list in terms of fantasy points per game. Yeah, funny enough, DeAndre Swift is one that stands out like a sore thumb. Got the targets, couldn't get the points.
All right, for me, my number 5 fantasy football running back, Najee Harris. Woo! Is that hot?
Yeah.
All I do is spit hot takes, Ryan. I mean, again, he had 272 carries and 41 catches while dealing with a really bad foot injury that plagued him the entire series, the entire season. I understand Jaylen Warren maybe, eating away at some of his fantasy work, but still, Najee Harris is the goal line back. If you're high on the Steelers offense, taking a step up, I think you got to be kind of high on Najee Harris as well. Najee Harris, 7 times he was stopped at the 1-yard line without scoring that same drive. Led the NFL in that stat. Unfortunately, I think that's due to regress in a big way. I know he's not as efficient as some of these other guys, but again, fantasy is a volume game, and I think his efficiency is going to bump back up. And I think they've done some good stuff, the Steelers, with the offensive line as well. Back-to-back years with 7 rushing touchdowns. I think that could go up. I mean, he had 74 catches in his rookie year. I think we could get closer to that role, or at least more than 41 he had last year. So consistent with the touchdowns, consistent with the workload. He just gets the ball a ton. Give me Najee Harris as my number 5 fantasy football running back, Ryan.
Yeah, I also like him. He finished 14th last year, and I think if you specifically zoom in to when Kenny Pickett started playing well, you see Najee Harris start to play a little bit better. So the trending towards the end of the season certainly makes me feel better about Najee Harris than worse. I will say I'm higher on Jaylen Warren than you. I think, he's a clear complementary back. I've called him Austin Ekeler 2.0. I do think the way that I think they're going to find themselves preferring to use Najee as the bell cow back and Warren as the change of pace guy. Hopefully Najee Harris can stay healthy. He's kind of Derrick Henry without the alien.
This is the touchdown thing. This is a 300 plus carries thing. This is a 50 plus receptions.
But I also think they're just a team that seems, at least with Matt Canada, they seem like they have a preference to passing the ball around the goal line. I don't know if it's leftover Ben Roethlisberger funk or
but
what.
Again, they getting stopped at the one without scoring. That feels like it's due to regress in a massive, massive way here for Najee. Kramer, who's your number 5?
Derrick Henry. This is the perfect spot for Derrick Henry. I am more than happy. Generally, when the running backs start or the wide receivers start drying up in the second round of the draft, if I've drafted early and I've drafted one of the big wide receiver guns, you know what really looks nice on a team? Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry. You know what else looks nice on a team? Jamar Chase and Derrick Henry. So there are some nice pairings you can get with Derrick Henry. Obviously, him and Nick Chubb kind of stand out as guys who I'm willing to look past the target restriction for. And they can carry the load. They're going to get the goal line carries. They're going to be efficient. They're just good running backs. And it's hard. Like, I think we just don't pay enough attention to guys who are just good at running the ball. Nick Chubb probably a little bit better than Derrick Henry, but just they run through the right hole.
Run through a motherfucker's face, as Marshawn Lynch once said.
Well, Derrick Henry, I'll actually throw out both because you've already talked about Chubb, but Derrick Henry 5, Nick Chubb 6. To me, like, that's a tier in its own right there. It's called the I'm happy to take these guys at the end of the second, beginning of the third round, because they're the not sexy pick this year. They're a total not sexy pick. No one wants to have Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry on their team. But when we look at the end of the year and we see, oh shit, like Derrick Henry was 4th in points last year, so, and it's like we don't even fancy his year has a great year. That's insane. And then you look at Nick Chubb, he was 6th in points, Sean. And like I said, he had a stretch where he scored under, I think, a total of 26 points
with like some down weeks in there.
Very down weeks with Watson coming back. Now, I guess the counterpoint would be he really didn't do as well with Watson as he did previous. So we'll see how it goes.
I guess that to me is not like that's not a trend that makes sense, right? Like, that's not something that
but this
I think is sustainable.
Here's what kills me. Like, this shouldn't be a hot take. Nick Chubb has no backfield competition. Jerome Ford, sure, and neither does Derrick Henry. All right, but they drafted Spears? Like, come on. So for them to do what they did last year is considered a hot take this year because most people aren't putting them in their top 10.
Well, that's why we're not like most people, Ryan.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, have you guys signed up over at Underdog Fantasy? If not, what are you waiting for? UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Get yourself a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Deposit 100, get 100. Perfect for entering the Best Ball Mania 4. I mean, $15 million up for grabs. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God!
They got the season-long over-unders for player props. There's just so much action over there. Of course, if you're looking to get down on some daily MLB bets as well, their Underdog Pick'em is super fun to play over there. Again, UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN, 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Yeah, Best Ball Mania 4, $15 million up for grabs. What are you waiting for? UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Okay, Kramer, so you've given out up to 6.
Yes, so I have Ekeler, McCaffrey, Barkley, Bijan, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, top 6.
Yeah. For me, it's what do we got here?
Oh, a little late
Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Najee Harris. Coming in at number 6, currently unsigned, Saquon Barkley. As much as I want to throw a little shade at Saquon Barkley, I think you can't, even as a shade master myself, I still got to put him in the top 10. 6 feels like a good spot here for him. Again, I think the Giants offense is going to slightly regress. Maybe some missed games injury-wise for Barkley, not trying to put that out there.
It sounds like you are.
But he's had some issues over the years, coming off a season where he played all 16. Again, kind of an outlier touchdown-wise. He had 10 previous years, 2, 0, 6, and then 11. So a little bit of an outlier there. Maybe that goes back.
Offense was in the red zone a bit more. That helps.
Yeah. That's certainly true. Again,
in fairness, he was up there in red zone carries.
Yes. This to me is just a projection of being slightly down on the Giants offense compared to what they did last year.
Fair.
So 6 makes sense, giving him his flowers. Enjoy, Saquon. You're number 6 on Sean Green's list.
Beautiful. All right. Number 7.
What do you got?
Going back to the target thing, I'm definitely higher on this guy than the world. I told you that he would start to he was in the 4th round, and then it was the 3rd round, and I keep saying he's going to be a 2nd round pick by the time September gets here. Ramondre Stevenson. Now you're seeing shade about they've not often had bell cows in New England, but that doesn't mean they don't want to have a bell cow. I don't understand this take that just because there's another guy on the roster who might be a pass catching back, it's going to take away from what Ramondre Stevenson did last year. Sean, as I mentioned earlier, I like those backs with 5 targets per game. Guess what? Ramondre Stevenson, 5.2 a game. He only had down the stretch, starting in week 7, his targets were 8, 7, 7 bye week, 6, 10, 8, 3, 3, 5, 4, 6. Very much a part of the passing game. And quite frankly, I'm not sure what this offense is going to look like. I know they got a couple tight ends who can run around. I know that.
And again, New England, it's always a little bit interesting. They're mixing things up there this year. They're using an offensive coordinator, which
might help.
Yeah, which could, but maybe they're doing different stuff. Maybe Pierre Strong gets a little bit more.
Pierre Strong too.
I just couldn't find a clear positive case for Ramondre. Like
5 targets a game.
Yeah, no, I guess in my head it was just like there's a lot of moving parts in that Patriots offense, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I just couldn't get him into the top 10. I don't hate him though. I feel like I don't have much of him in best ball though.
Where did he finish last year? Fantasy points.
Fantasy points?
If you had to guess, I got it in front of me.
I'm going to say 8th.
7th.
Okay.
Quietly top 7. So again, I'm not suggesting anything crazy here. And
why do you think the market is more down on him, Ryan?
Because I think because of what you said. The typical Pierre Strong's fun.
Yeah.
And at some point
they're getting cute and talking themselves out of it.
I mean, a team showed their willingness to do this last year. Now, you could argue new offense, maybe Bill O'Brien comes in and changes things up. But also, Pierre Strong's fun, but we also were hard into the FCS that year.
Yeah.
And he's an FCS guy.
No, I just to me it's there's a lot of variables, and it creates some opportunities for him not to get back to where he was. Well, there's not as much consistency.
All right, Ty Montgomery, who is a undrafted free agent.
Yeah, I don't see Ty Montgomery doing much for them.
He's one of the guys that's going to steal some of the pass catching work, and then you have Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris, J.J. Taylor. I just think that sometimes you have a running back that's just better than all the other ones, and I think this team, they don't have what are you getting excited about? Is it the receiving room?
It does feel like running back. If you're going to win big in best ball, even in some managed leagues, high stakes, whatever. Feels like your bread's going to be buttered with running backs this year. Because the running back, I mean, just even looking at your list, you're making good points here. I just think if you nail the running backs, I think your ceiling is crazy, right? Because it seems like there's the most differing opinions market-wise.
Yeah, and it's also the whole, in general, I have the opinion that I probably like the second guy on a team more than the first guy when you factor in their ADP.
Yeah.
But that's just because they get hurt. And if you're playing best ball, you're kind of playing a different game with the running backs in that you're in managed. Absolutely. I even I'm more going to lean towards some of these running backs that I know are going to have these point outputs early in the season. I still understand how zero RB works, but the reality is that much like every other trend, the zero RBs sometimes don't hit. If the top guys do hit, and I understand that the way it works, but we're kind of looking at a crop. As I'm drafting these best ball teams, especially, there's a huge crop of guys. It doesn't feel like rounds 3 through 6 like last year, where there's a bunch of optimistic cases being made. To me, it was hard to get a top 10 made here because I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot more bell cows this year than typical.
For me, Ryan, number 7, he was you had him number 1. I'm Austin Ekeler.
Oh, this is a horrible take.
It's
got to be injury. Only injury.
Injury, and this is a vibes thing. 100% vibes thing. You try and get traded out of your team. I think that has a huge impact, especially when you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator. We see it all the time.
Business. Business.
But Ryan, how many times have we seen a new coach or new coordinator comes in and the old guy doesn't get as much love as he did previously because it's like, oh, he's not my guy. I didn't draft him.
With Austin Ekeler, he's going to do that?
Slight decline. Again,
Stop it.
I'm not saying he's not in my top 10. He's just 7.
The problem,
I just don't. He's even himself said he doesn't want that insane workload.
he didn't get the insane workload last year. It was all catches. Like and frankly, who did they add? Because Spiller wasn't the guy. Josh Kelly hasn't been the guy.
I just don't see the Kellen Moore offense I just don't see a Kellen Moore offense getting Austin Ekeler 107 catches. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be 70 catches like he had in 2021.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay. I mean, you look at the rest of his career. He never came anywhere close to 107. Again,
to me, it's just not sustainable. And you look at his yards per reception dropped dramatically.
Well, that's the offense. I think what you're going to see is receptions go down, yards per catch goes up. I think you're also ignoring the fact that he's now in a bet on himself. Incentives were added to the contract.
Yeah, but if you're a running back, you can't call your own plays.
You don't think Austin Ekeler?
I don't think he's going to run hard. His own? I think he's pissed at the team. Have you watched his interviews?
He's in a contract year. What are you talking about?
This
is like your dump the Gatorade talk when the team's about to play for a championship.
What?
Like when you leverage the dump the Gatorade when they're about to play when they're about to play another really important game. Not in football. You've done this. You've debuted this in the NBA.
I think his numbers are going to be similar to 2021. So again, 70 catches is a huge difference compared to 107.
Yeah, I agree.
So you think how many catches you got Austin Ekeler going
for? I think he has 100 catch potential.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if
I'll take the under.
What's the number you think? Do we have an Ekeler number? I'll see if I can pull it up on Underdog, but I'll take the 25% on Ekeler right now. In case you were wondering,
your best ball percentage.
Yeah.
Best ball is such a different animal because the upside case is there. I'm just splitting the difference and saying 7.
4.5 receiving touchdowns, 8.5 rushing touchdowns, 775 rushing yards, no receptions. Prop. I would certainly take over on 70. If we were to set the number in the 70s, let's say 78.5, I would take I just think he's going to have tremendous potential. And
again, I'm not one to throw shade, but he is a guy that has the 300 touch thing he's not a Derrick Henry, right? So he's coming off 107 catches, 204 carries. That's 311. That's where traditionally you've seen.
It's not it. It's 400 and it's 300. Yeah, it's 370 carries or touches, I believe.
This is my own metric.
Okay.
And my metric says Austin Ekeler slightly down.
All right. I again, very hot.
You hate when I have non-math takes, but I've had non-math takes the entire show.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm just calling it a hot take. All right, number 8.
What do you got?
Perhaps this is hot. You ready for a spicy one?
Yeah.
Kept getting moved up my rankings. You look at the amount of goal line carries that Dalvin Cook had last year.
Oh, I'll jump in real quick. He's not on my list because we don't know what team he is going to be, the fit, whatever.
No. Dalvin Cook's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. Okay.
16 goal line carries vacated on the Minnesota Vikings. A metric fuck ton of targets, aka it's TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
It's Justin Jefferson, and then Alexander Mattison, baby.
So we'll talk about it when we do our receiver episode, and I mentioned it with Kirk Cousins. I did think Justin Jefferson ran cold as far as expected touchdowns, so I think he gets some of those. But to your point, there's still a massive opportunity. Now, all the deep fantasy guys are making rumblings about the second and third running backs in Minnesota and Alexander Mattисon's explosiveness. But when in doubt, I lean opportunity, and he has a massive opportunity. This is what I'm talking about for running backs. Like if you get some of these back, the non-consensus second half of the top 10, if you get some of these guys right, like you're gonna win your league. You're gonna be like destroying in best ball if you can get these kind of next level running backs right.
There's not many guys in the same ballpark. And by the way, if you expand it inside the 10, Dalvin Cook 22 carries, Miles Sanders 23, more vacated stuff for Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. To just reflect on your Austin Ekeler point, he did have 22 carries inside the 10, which is crazy. Like they just used the shit out of him. But yeah, back to the guy I'm using. I think if he slots in and he ranks in the top 10 in goal line carries, and I mean we've seen him. We don't know that Dalvin Cook was still good. We don't know that Dalvin Cook was any better than Alex Mattison last year. I mean, we've always been of the claw. It's like, hey, maybe different haircuts so we know which guy's in the game. That tells me that maybe they won't miss Dalvin Cook at all. And again, when you're Dalvin Cook and you get 16 carries inside the 5 and you only score 6 touchdowns, that same comment about Justin Jefferson's positive touchdown regression would be said about the running back position for the Vikings as well.
Yeah.
To only score 6 on 16 carries from inside the 5 is not a very good ratio. For perspective, Derrick Henry scored on 10 of his 15 carries. So I love the more I've walked through this process, the more that I like Alex Mattison as a guy. I mean, certainly he's going in the 5th round of these best ball drafts right now. Me putting him here, essentially saying I'm probably okay starting to look at him in the 3rd round. I certainly have him juiced up because I want to draft him as much as possible. Because again, Dalvin Cook was a 1st round pick last year. Bottom line.
For me, again, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison didn't make my list. You make a compelling case about Mattison. I do have him in some shares there in best ball. I mean, for me, number 8, and I've been drafting him a ton. This to me is just it's just the perfect situation. Miles Sanders of the Carolina Panthers. Again, this is a workhorse role. You're not going to see Chuba Hubbard getting that much.
No, Matt Rule's wife is out of town now. He's got no preference with the coaches.
Now maybe you're slightly down the Panthers offense, but look at the Eagles. Like he could have even had a much bigger year if they didn't have Jalen Hurts stealing his goal line carries, if they didn't have Kenny Gainwell, AJ Brown catching a ton of passes. Like they brought him in, they paid him a bunch of money to give him a ton of work. Like I don't always like to say the capital argument, but this to me is like they spent a lot to get him in here.
They did spend a lot.
And they're going to use the shit out of him. And we saw, I'm not predicting him having a Jonathan Taylor type role, but if you look at Frank Reich, some of those awesome Jonathan Taylor years were when Frank Reich was calling that offense. How do you, I mean, like Jonathan Taylor, his year, the year Carson Wentz played, he was really good. And I imagine he brought in Miles Sanders to help Bryce Young, to help set him up, right? Like get him some easy play action, get him some good opportunities.
He's also a good goal line back. And I think that's, if you're Carolina, one of the ways to simplify the offense for the quarterback is don't put him in spots where he's passing inside the 5 when the field's tight. Make sure you have a guy that can just smash it in. So I don't hate the case. I certainly, again, when you're building your team the quote right way and drafting receivers first, you do have a nice opportunity for some of these running backs towards the 4th, 5th, 6th round, where the Miles guys who have no real competition for work, just going because we're unsure of how the situation will play out. All right, what's next?
I've gone up to 8. Where are you at, Ryan?
I'm on 9.
Okay, fire.
Again, Josh Jacobs. It's so hard to get him outside. Like
I know I have him just outside, like 11. To me, the case against Josh Jacobs, and it's not a great math case. It's just he doesn't seem to me like a guy that can have back-to-back career years, where we've seen it with guys like Derrick Henry, where they have all those carries, all those touches, and they're able to do it again. It's tough to really build a case against Josh Jacobs, but to me, it's a bigger bet against the Raiders offense.
He had more targets than you remember in the passing game. He averaged almost 4 a game. He didn't have a ton down the stretch, but what is it going to be, Zamir White? Like where is it going?
He's another guy that, to your point, Ryan, and I didn't have this handle before we started this podcast, but there are a lot of bell cow opportunities for these running backs. We seemingly had gotten away from it with all these specialty guys, but again, Miles Sanders, Najee Harris, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, Derrick Henry. We are starting to see almost the return of the bell cow back, or these guys who get the majority of the work.
And I'm sure neither of us have Mixon in our top 10.
No, but he's another guy.
But be careful, because he checks the box for, just ability to carry the load, what they gave to him last year. He did score 55 points in a single game, which was part of it.
Kind of throws things off.
But from a target perspective, he was getting that work. So, yeah, I mean, Joe Mixon, fun fact, one of the I think it's 7 guys who averaged 5 targets or more last year. So, anyway, so I almost submitted Josh Jacobs in here, because what happens is the same situation. There's a lot of these drafts where in the 3rd round, I've maybe taken Nick Chubb in the 2nd round, and it's like, oh shit, I can pair Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs with Tyreek Hill. That seems okay. It seems like, again, you said with running back, it's about opportunity, and running back's unique in that the handcuffs will get the same opportunity, which makes it that's why the receiver is more valuable. You don't see that with the wide receiver position. But with Josh Jacobs, we saw last year that in a lot of those games for DFS, you could play Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams together, and they both put up. There were a couple games where they put up combined 70-point games. And so if the offense in the state it was last year can carry that kind of weight, I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. I don't think they're going to take a huge step back no matter who the quarterback is. And if anything, if the quarterback is not as good, it gives me more faith that Josh Jacobs is going to have to be leaned on. So I have no problem having no clue who the quarterback is for the Raiders and still putting some of their players in the top 10. And then, maybe Tom Brady comes out of retirement and you hit the fucking jackpot.
Me for number 9, just my squad is all dogs. Dameon Pierce, true dog. 13 games, he still had 939 yards, 220 carries. He just runs so damn hard there down in Houston. Again, I know they brought in Singletary, but I still think it's a more or less a bell cow situation. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, rookie quarterback, you figure out ways to give him easy completions, aka checking down to guys like Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
I know they brought in Devin Singletary, but I just don't see him taking away meaningful carries from Dameon Pierce. We talked about him as a nice long shot there, 30-1 to lead the league in rush yards. Love that. I think he's a guy who just thrives on opportunity, keeps his feet chopping the entire time.
Chop, chop, chop.
Dameon Pierce is just classic eye test. I mean, we saw it leading up into preseason. Just, holy shit, this guy wants to play. And I think that's continued through his entire rookie season. I see him making a nice jump here in year 2. So Dameon Pierce, just love this guy. Again, and even if the Houston offense just gets slightly better, he had 5 touchdowns last year, 4 rushing, 1 receiving. Can he get double-digit rushing touchdowns? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Projecting a nice year from my boy Dameon Pierce.
It sounds like you're joining me being a little bullish on the Texans. He's also my number 10. Okay. To me, there's a whole bunch of guys here, same kind of range. Yes, it seems like we both found a way to leave Tony Pollard off. I will say Tony Pollard did pop in a lot of those explosive, those spreadsheets I was looking at.
Popped his leg.
His leg popped. Great call.
Come on.
But back to Dameon Pierce, what I really liked is hearing about how, when he found out the coaching changes and the new offense, he immediately started studying film of Christian McCaffrey and other running backs who have played in the system. Of course, they are going to be running the Niners offense, and I think in general that gets you excited about a running back. And I know that you will hear people say, well, they signed Devin Singletary to come in and help with the passing game.
Yeah.
What I've seen, read about Dameon Pierce's work ethic, what he's brought to OTAs, he is bringing a, quote, ferocity to his blocking that we did not see last year.
Yeah, so maybe even more pass game role.
I think that they are expecting him to be a bell cow. I think Singletary was brought in with a little insurance in mind. There was not a massive investment there. And this is a system that has always had to have – it's always good to have a backup because you plan to use the shit out of your running back. And so if Dameon Pierce can hold up he did get hurt last year. If Dameon Pierce can hold up, I do think there's going to be opportunity in this offense. The Texans offense will surprise some people this year. And I did rank Dameon Pierce one spot ahead of Jonathan Taylor. So to me, they're similar cases, though. They're obviously going to be a heavily featured piece of their offense. I like the Texans offense better than the Colts.
AFC South is just interesting as far as like who's the best defense in the AFC South?
It's probably, you have to say, the Colts.
Yeah, but still, like
Titans. I'll go Titans.
I feel like Titans, at least talent wise, and Vrabel as their coach. But I feel like you could put up 30 on any of these AFC South teams if you're a decent team. For me, my final fantasy football running back, number 10 spot, give me James Conner. I have a soft spot for him. No Kyler Murray rushing, at least probably in the first half of the season, to compete with. This is a great quote. James Conner doesn't care if nobody believes in the Cardinals.
He seems fired up this year.
The exciting part is the quote, prove people wrong. Whoever they tried out there at quarterback, I could see him getting used more in the passing game. He's a guy who thrives on opportunity.
You don't have to speculate. After the bye week, no Kyler. He in a 4-game stretch, Sean, he had 23 targets.
Yes, that's insane.
And
what has changed? Let's see. They got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Like he's going to get more targets.
I'll tell you what I've been doing in best ball. It's very easy to get Hollywood Brown, Rondell Moore, and James Conner.
Yeah, and if you're looking in underdog, week 17 game stack with the Eagles, so he's a fun bring back.
He's a great,
and
bring
maybe
back.
That's why he's on my radar here at number 10. But I think it's a great role, great situation for him. Again, their offense isn't going to be amazing, but if you want to, I just have a feeling next year we'll be looking at who did what last year, and we'll go, James Conner caught 65 passes or something like that, and you're like, their offense sucked, but it's just an opportunity. Like, they don't have that many good skill players who they can rely on. Like, you're drawing up a game plan. You're Jonathan.
I actually think he's going to have more.
You're Jonathan. I'm just laughing at Jonathan Gannon coming up with the game plan, Ryan. You're Jonathan Gannon drawing up a game plan. Hey, wait, who's our best skill player? Who's their best skill player on that offense?
Well, data to back it up. Josh Jacobs averaged under 4 targets a game. He ended up with 64 total targets. James Conner averaged almost 5 targets a game down the stretch here. Yeah. So I'm with you. I think not only that, obviously the case against is the offense could really, really suck. But who else are they giving the ball to? Right?
Yeah,
like he seems fired up too, a little bit like Jamal Williams last year. Real quick, he didn't make my top 10, but we really should mention it because one thing that did stand out when I was looking at the vacated goal line carries inside the 5 carries, we won't talk about how Zeke got 19. We won't talk about in reference to Tony Pollard.
That ankle is.
By the way, Malik Davis, the way that you play your cowboy is you draft Malik Davis at the end of the draft. No one knows who he is. He's the backup. Tony Pollard's not going to be the same guy this year. Serious injury. But Jamal Williams had 29 carries inside the 5. Repeat, 29 carries. I was talking earlier when I was saying Dalvin Cook had 16. He was 3rd. 29 carries for Jamal Williams.
So is this a David Montgomery, a pro David Montgomery tape?
Combine that with the fact that DeAndre Swift also averaged 5 targets a game. That tells me that I love Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was
thinking more of the touchdowns.
I love David Montgomery. I love David Montgomery where he's going.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get him in though because there's two of them.
They ate into each other's workload.
Same with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Like they're very depressed value.
And that was my take on Bijan and Algier. I think they eat into each other's work. Neither will be a top 10 back.
To me, Bijan is closer to Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jahmyr Gibbs is only a couple ticks down on the list here because of what they can do in the passing game.
Kramer, we did it. Gave out the top 10 fantasy football running backs. Again, stay tuned for our series. What's coming up next, Kramer?
Next, I believe we have tight ends.
Oh, my favorite. Love a good tight end. Love talking tight end. Love talking ball. As always, make sure that subscribe button, youtube.com/sportsgaming podcast. Download us. Turn on the auto downloads. Football is here. The summer is here. Let's go, baby. Toss us a nice rating review over on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars are appreciated.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green, and he's Ryan.
And Austin Ekeler not going to be number 7.
Kramer, let it ride.